What are you at? It's Paul from Wicked Acorn. Welcome back, everybody. Hello, Astrex. Hello, 1234. I hope we're on the air. Let's see. What are we talking about today? What are we talking about today? Here is our next mystery photo. Our next mystery photo for tomorrow. The 15th tomorrow, isn't it? The 14th today. Tomorrow's quiz day. Hope you have your thinking caps on. Where are we? That was our mystery photo from the last live stream. And we're going to watch a video about this place today. And it has something to do with this day in history, which is, of course, the 14th of October. It is, of course, October 14th, 1066. And that is the Battle of Hastings, of course. And it was a decisive victory for William, Duke of Normandy, over the Anglo-Saxon army led by King Harold Godwinson. Harold was killed during the long and bloody battle, reportedly by an arrow to the eye, leading to the rout of his forces and opening the way for William to claim the English throne, which he did on Christmas Day, 1066. I'll have to make note of that one for the Christmas concert. A thing that happened this day in history. Christmas Day, 1066. This Norman victory marked the end of Anglo-Saxon rule and initiated a profound transformation of English culture, language, and governance. So true, it changed everything. It changed everything. Yeah, it changed everything. It's amazing how one small event, one battle in history changes everything, isn't it? But that happened today in history. And we won't dwell on the Battle of Hastings for too long. But there's a new series on Netflix or something. I started to watch it, but it didn't really catch me, which is unusual because I really like that stuff, but it didn't catch my attention. I'm sure I'll go back to it and watch it, but it didn't really grab me. Also on this day in 1926, A. Milne released his first collection of stories about the bear Winnie the Pooh. The book introduces readers to Pooh, Christopher Robin, and their friends, and is illustrated by E.H. Shepard. And I have a print of, excuse me, I have a print of E.H. Shepard from the Winnie the Pooh book. It's probably a page from an old Winnie the Pooh book. I haven't taken it apart to look at it. But it's Pooh in the honey tree, and Christopher Robin and Eeyore and Piglet are holding a sheet for him to jump into, like a trampoline, to rescue him. One of my favorites. I love Winnie the Pooh. And Winnie the Pooh, if you didn't know, was an actual bear. And she was the mascot of the Manitoba Regiment, I think, Canadian regiment in World War I. A lot of regiments had animals as mascots, and the Manitoba Regiment had a black bear cub as their mascot. And they left it at the London Zoo, I think, when they went overseas to France to fight. And hmm, anyway, the bear was named Winnie, as in Winnipeg, Winnipeg, Manitoba. So the bear's name was Winnie, and Winnie was kept at the London Zoo, and that's where Christopher Robin saw Winnie the Pooh, the actual black bear cub in the London Zoo, and got his father to write stories about it. And that's where Winnie the Pooh came from. And there's a statue of Winnie the Pooh at the London Zoo. I have photos of. I should have dug those out to show you. I I wouldn't be able to find them quickly. But that's this day in history. Winnie the Pooh. It's a favorite of mine. And on this day in 1957, Queen Elizabeth II became the first reigning monarch to open a session of Canada's Parliament with a speech from the throne. So we do the same thing, being Commonwealth. We Parliament's open with a speech from the throne, usually up until this point in time, given by the Governor General of Canada, which is the Queen's representative. And then there's I assume each province does. I know the province of Newfoundland and Labrador does, has a lieutenant general, and that's the Queen's representative for the province. So usually, I think she did it again in 92 or something. Yeah, so it's open with a speech from the throne, of course, Parliament. And she was the first monarch to ever open Parliament in person. I put this one in for you, Astrax. You said you liked Gilligan's Island. Uh, on this day in history, in 1978, The Rescue from Gilligan's Island came out. And it's the first made for television movie based on a TV series. And the sitcom was 64 to 67, and it featured 6 of the 7 original castaways. Did anybody see it? I remember watching it. Did anybody see it? And do you know which member of the cast didn't participate? I'm not going to say. One member of the cast didn't want to participate in the reunion movie. It was 2 parts, so over 2 nights. Let's see, what else can I tell you here? In the 2-part movie, a tidal wave. Do you remember this? A tidal wave. I guess they heard it on the radio. I don't remember the coconut-powered radio. Um, there was a tidal wave coming, and they tied all the houses together or something. I don't really remember. But anyway, they get back to the mainland, and they face challenges readjusting to modern life and are pursued by spies seeking a data disk. I don't remember that part. And of course, the film concludes when they get shipwrecked back on the same island, the very same island. And there were several sequels after that. You was too grown up in 78. Yeah, I was probably too grown up in 78 too, but I remember watching it. uh, yeah, it was Ginger. Ginger didn't um, Ginger didn't participate in the reunion. Tina Louise, was that her name? Uh, is it here? No. Ginger Grant didn't participate in the reunion. What else we got? Oh, this one. It's Roger Moore's birthday today. Born in 1927, died in 2017. And I included it here because apparently Roger Moore lived in Sale at one point in time, but I can't find any information on it. So if you know anything about that, I would like to know. This day in history is also George Floyd's birthday. And of course, we all know who George Floyd is by now. African-American bouncer murdered while restrained in police custody by Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, born in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And it's just something that happened today in history. It's a sad moment in history. I actually, for some reason, it popped up in my YouTube feed the other day, the body cam footage of this. And boy, America is a very sad place. It's a very sad place. I would not want to be a black man in America. They are treated very unfairly. It's just the way it is. What can I say? They are treated very unfairly. Anyway, that's not what we're going to talk about, but it's his birthday today. Somebody who we shouldn't even know about, but do. The clip we're going to look at today is, where are we? The clip we're going to look at today is our mystery photo. And this is where it is. I'm not going to tell you where it is. Well, I am, but I won't tell you live where it is. How about that?
When I was a kid, we used to play a game called King of the Castle. Well, here, they play King of the Castle for real. We're going back to a date that every English-speaking school child knows, 1066. It's a round one question on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. The Battle of Hastings. It only lasted one day, but the Norman conquest of England lasted for many years after that event. Today we're going to the border of Bowden and Dunham Massey in the
I just threw that in as a bit of fun there in the intro to this video. Does anybody remember this? I don't remember this. I did watch Who Wants to Be a Millionaire from time to time, but does anybody remember this moment?
It only lasted one day, but the Norman...
On Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, there was somebody in the audience. He was cheating, and someone in the audience was telling him the answers by coughing. So he would cough the number of times, once for A, twice for B, etc. And this wasn't the question. I put that there. But anybody remember that? Anybody watch that? Anyway, on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, this guy got caught for cheating. Yeah, coded coughing, exactly. I didn't see it, but I don't know how I found out about that. Something to do with Who Wants to Be a Millionaire I was using for a video. Not this video. I think it was the Winifred Brown video I used, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
of Hastings. It only lasted one day, but the Norman conquest of England lasted for many years after that event. Today we're going to the border of Bowden and Dunham Massey in the historic county of Cheshire. It's now part of Greater Manchester, but perhaps for the purposes of today's video, we should call it the Kingdom of Mercia. When you think of England, one of the first things that come to mind is castles. It's not something you usually associate with Manchester though, but there were castles all over England's landscape during the Norman Conquest. And just over here is the site of one of Greater Manchester's castles. Watch Hill Castle. It's the only scheduled ancient monument in Trafford. Doesn't look like much today, but you need to know what you're looking for. This was the site of a Motte and Bailey castle owned by Hamon de Massey.
It doesn't look like much. It doesn't look like much in person. It's just a mound, but it's interesting when you know what it is and you know what you're looking for. It's Motte and Bailey Castle, and it doesn't show up well on camera, but it's not far away. It's worth a look. Not difficult to get to.
This was the site of a Motte and Bailey castle owned by Hamon de Massey. Motte and Bailey castles were usually made of wood, so it's no surprise that nearly 1,000 years later there's not much left of it. I'm sure you know what a castle is, but what's a Motte and Bailey? Here it is, the Motte and Bailey Castle. It was introduced to this country by William the Conqueror. A Motte and Bailey castle was made up of two structures. A motte, a type of mound, often artificial, topped with a wooden or stone structure known as a keep, and at least one bailey, a fortified enclosure built next to the motte. So these nice even steps make it a little easier to get from the bowling up to where the bailey would have been, but now I would have been met by a palisade and probably people shooting arrows and stuff at me. So I think I'm dead. The first line of defense is the ditch or moat. Watch Hill has a natural ravine and river valley. They would have deepened and widened these as they saw fit and added extras where needed, and then put that soil on top of the motte to make it higher. The entire site is enclosed behind a huge fence called a palisade. They were usually around 12 to 14 feet high. There'd be some sort of gatehouse with a drawbridge that could be pulled up in the event of a siege. This bit with the houses and such is the bailey. This is where the support staff would be, you know, your butcher and baker and candlestick maker. Well, maybe. But they'd certainly need someone to make food and a smithy to fix and make weapons and tools. A chapel was a common thing inside a bailey. All the things needed for everyday life. We're on a raised triangular section of land here now. We're at the fat end of the triangle, and this would have been the bailey. On the other end, at the pointy end of the triangle, there would have been the motte. And on top of the motte, of course, is the tower with all the big guys stay there. But out here would have been the normal people. But there still would have been fortifications here. There would have been a ditch and a palisade. And in here, the normal people would stay, and they would make provisions for the guys, the big guys in the castle, the keep on top of the motte. The next line of defense was the motte, an even higher piece of ground, like the bailey, surrounded by a moat and palisade, with another gatehouse and drawbridge. Finally, the castle or keep. Everybody could rush in here if they were attacked. Here they could mount a very strong defense. Yeah, and this is all swampy land here. You wouldn't want to cross that. You get across this and then you fight. Yeah. This countryside wouldn't have as many trees as it does today. What trees there were would have been used for the castle and the palisade. They needed a clear line of sight to the A56, the old Roman road where it crosses the River Boyne. This castle would have guarded the river crossing of the road from Chester to Manchester. It was the entrance to the barony of Hamon de Massey.
Yeah, it's a long way down to the river. You can't really attack from this end. And on the other side, we have that swamp. So yeah, it's well defended. And there's a ditch here between the motte and the bailey. It's difficult to make out on camera. It, it doesn't look like an incredible height, but it is when you have to run up it and fight someone at the end. And you can see there's a depression here, which probably would have been the entry with a drawbridge to enter the keep at the top of the motte. And over there is the green field where I was speaking about the Bailey. Yeah, there's no way you're coming up here easily. So I just wanted to add this extra little note that I found recently about Haman Damasi, the first Haman Damasi. The name was passed down several generations. There were several Haman Damasi, but Haman Damasi the first was at the Battle of Hastings, and he lived from 1056 to 1101. And something that you kind of gloss over when you're reading history. It never occurred to me to do the math. That means he was 10 years old at the Battle of Hastings.
These lands belonged to Haman Damasi. He took over from the Saxon Thane Aylward after 1066. Perhaps he was at the Battle of Hastings and given these lands by William the Conqueror. William was going to take all of England, and he gave land and territories to trusted men to own and defend in his name. Are you digging in that ancient scheduled monument? No, I was walking my dog and he went down this rabbit hole here. Yeah, that's it. That's the ticket. Yeah, and I reached in to get him and I found this coin. Yeah, that's the ticket. Yeah. There's never been a proper excavation of this site. A chance discovery in the early 19th century of a silver penny dated to the reign of Henry II was found in a rabbit hole on top of the motte. That could support a construction date. There was a rebellion of certain barons against Henry II in 1173 that included Haman Damasi. It may have been built during that conflict, or it may have been built earlier and still occupied during this period. The church.
So I don't know if Baby with a Laser is there, but that would be a field to do metal detecting on. I'm sure there's lots of things there to find. It's never been excavated, never been properly excavated by archaeologists, and the silliness I was getting on with the only dating that's been found was a guy reached in a rabbit hole and found a coin that dates it to the 1100s, but that's the only dating, only thing we know, other than I guess archaeologists have looked at it. No doubt archaeologists have looked at it, but they've never excavated it, because these things were everywhere. There were hundreds and hundreds, things like 600 of these things across the country. So what are you going to learn by excavating another one of these things? But it would be nice to know more about it. It's never been excavated. There's only so much money to go around in archaeology.
Occupied during this period. The Church of St. Mary the Virgin in Bowden. There's probably been a church here since the 7th century. The Domesday Book tells us that at the time there was a mill, a church, and a parish priest. In the year 1100, a stone church was built here in the Norman style. This effigy was uncovered from under a pillar in the nave when the church was rebuilt. The right arm across the body with the outline and point of his sword just visible may indicate he was a knight in service to the king. If it's not the Haman Damasi, it's likely one of his descendants. It's certainly one of his crew. The name of Haman Damasi was passed on to his descendants for several generations. Later, the name Bagley was adopted by the family, as it was the site of their main property. There were as many as 600 motte and bailey castles in England during the Norman conquest. They were like the aircraft carriers of their day. William sent his men abroad and they would build these motte and bailey castles. From places like Watch Hill, they would send out the fighter jets, the cavalry. Men on horseback could patrol a 30-mile radius in a day. Daily patrols and hunting parties established the Norman presence. The Normans were saying, "We're here," and a domineering structure like a Motte and Bailey castle said it loudly. Most of the Motte and Bailey castles, like Watch Hill, have long since rotted away. Some were rebuilt in stone and became part of a bigger castle complex. Get out and check it out. It's a lovely spot, and although there's not much to see, now you know what to look for. If you want to learn more about this fascinating period of history, check out this book by Mark Morris, or any of his work. You can also find him on YouTube.
Bollin, the River Bollin.
Well, that's a colleague of my wife, former colleague of my wife, that I got her to be the
We need to mature our IT department and bring our
pronunciator, because I re-released that video took out some bits and did the little update and a few other things. Probably on this day in history a couple of years ago, I re-released it because of the anniversary of Hastings. And the effigy in St. Mary's Church there, something I'd like to know more about. I guess they don't know a lot about it. The church has been rebuilt at least 3 times, and it was found when they were rebuilding it in the 1800s, I think, and found it under the altar or somewhere. And yeah, I'd like to know more about it. It ended up in the churchyard for a long time, and then they moved it inside. So it's not in situ as such. It's and I think they think it's not as old as Haman Damacy the First. The name just kept going: Haman Damacy the First, Haman Damacy the Second, and so on. The same name just got passed down several times, and they owned Bagley Hall as well, and Dunham Massey. And there was another Motte and Bailey at Dunham Massey, of course. If you've been to Dunham Massey, it's the bit where the lake is on one corner of the house there. So they believe there was a Motte and Bailey there as well, and he owned that as well, this Haman Damacy character. And he came over with his brother, so he was probably his brother's squire or something like that, because he was only 10 apparently, according to his birthday and birth date, birth year. He was only 10 at the Battle of Hastings, so he was probably like a squire or something like that. And I think his brother was killed at the Battle of Hastings, so he became the heir apparent and went on to own everything that came with being at the Battle of Hastings, as what's his name? What's that guy's name? I'm so terrible with names. The guy in London there. The guy that owns all of London. What's his name? The oh, damn. Anyway, the guy that owns all of London. They were asking him, how to make money, how to get rich, and he said the best way to get rich is to have a relative that was at the Battle of Hastings. That's the best way to get rich. And you can't get more right than that, can you? He's definitely right about that one. So I'll show you our Where Is It photo for next time. Just a short video today. Being the Battle of Hastings. Anybody watch the something King, I believe it's called. King and Conqueror or something like that, the new series about the Battle of Hastings and whatnot. Duke of Westminster, thank you, 1234. Yes, that was his quote. The best way to get rich is to have an ancestor at the Battle of Hastings, which I intend to watch. What am I watching right now? I started watching something else the other night. The new series I started watching. Oh, Andor, the Star Wars one. I was never a big Star Wars fan. I was never into Star Wars, but I heard an interview with one of the actors that was in it. I've never watched any of the Star Wars things, but I heard an interview with one of the actors in it. It's like, I should check that out. They were talking about how it's mirroring events of today, um, things that are happening in the world. Don't have a TV. You can watch it on your computer or on your phone if you are so inclined to investigate these things. Um, yeah, there's dodgy websites that you can watch TV on your phone and computer. Anyway, that's it. That is our Where Is It photo for tomorrow, and we'll have a look at that. I know these places are really difficult, but some of them you get, don't you? That one is you don't have a TV license. Do you need a TV license to illegally watch television on your computer? I don't think you do. Well, I have a TV license, but that's because I'm an immigrant, and immigrants don't like to break the law. I've said that before. Things things that I would not think twice about doing back in Canada, like driving by the shop up there, and you just want to pop in and get something, and there's a double yellow line. I wouldn't think twice about that in Canada, parking on a no parking place for just a minute to pop into the shop and grab something. I mean, it's perfectly fine to park there. It's not really impeding traffic. It's not a dangerous spot, but you know, I wouldn't think twice about it in Canada, but I wouldn't even think of doing it here. I I'm a very law-abiding citizen in this country, or non-citizen. Uh, anyway, yeah, that's what they say anyway. Well, thank you for dropping by. We'll see you tomorrow. See you in the next one.